Welcome to a calming morning yoga class beside this magical waterfall in Thailand. From the very beginning to the very end of this practice, and especially when you step off of the mat, I encourage you to imagine putting on a robe of love. Let it envelop you, surround you, and shield you. Let love be your guide today, and may everything that you say to yourself or to others come from a place of love. Remember that as you flow and move your body, breathing into this atmosphere of love and compassion. You are here in this very moment for a reason. And with this in mind, and your covering of love in place, let's begin. Seated at the back of the mat with the knees wide, let's settle in, take a deep breath, and begin to slowly arch the back and look up. Exhale, round down, rounding the shoulders. You can keep your hands on your knees or begin to move your arms back and forward, moving with your breath, inhaling as you look up, exhaling as you round down. And now let's lace the fingers behind the back, arch the back, look up, and slowly exhaling as you reach down, folding over your legs, coming between them to place your forehead on the mat, and slowly rocking the shoulders, keeping the fingers pointed up to the sky. You can come over to the left and the right as far as you like with your shoulders, maybe tapping them to the mat. Reach up to the sky in the center and then slowly come up and reach back behind you. Open up through the chest and slowly folding down again. This time maybe you can reach your chin to the mat and look forward. And slowly roll up, releasing all the air out of your lungs and inhaling as you come up. Reach the chin up to the sky and fold forward again. And now let's bring the crown of the head to the mat. Lift your hips coming onto your knees and the top of your head. And then sitting back down into the heels, reaching back behind you with the arms. Release them now and reach up to the sky, bending the elbows and bringing the hands down. Let's keep the elbows together and then open them up. Bring the shoulder blades together, finding cactus arms, reaching back behind you, open up and come forward again. Let's open, hold, and exhale, bring the elbows together. Open up once more, breathe, opening through the chest, and reach up, bring the knees together, hands come down onto the mat, bring the hips and the belly down as well, looking forward, coming into Cobra. Releasing the forehead down and lift to Cobra. Bring the forehead down and lift again. Waking up the upper body, waking up the back. Lift to Cobra, looking forward, and roll down. Now we're going to lift the legs off of the mat. Lift them up, engaging through the glutes, and release. Your forehead can be on the mat as you lift the legs and release. Lift one more time and relax. Now let's reach the arms back behind you, lift the legs at the same time. And release down, relaxing the body, and then lifting up again, reaching back, lifting from the glutes, And release the hands at your sides. Tuck the toes and lift into an upward facing dog, or you can just stay in cobra if that's too intense right now. You can sway back and forth, dipping one hip to the side and then the other. Hold an upward facing dog. And exhale, lifting back into downward facing dog. Beautiful. Pressing into the mat, you can walk your feet, bending one knee at a time. Do what feels good for you. With every breath, breathing in love. And then bend your knees, place them on the mat. Come forward with the hips, finding upward facing dog. And from here, let's bend the knees. Reach those feet up toward your head. Reach your head toward the feet. And release, coming onto your knees, tucking your toes in a low dog, and then lifting up into downward facing dog. Bring the feet hip width apart. And now reaching with that right hand to the left ankle, the outside of the left ankle, looking up to the sky underneath your left arm. Breathe into the stretch. Coming back to center, let's switch sides. Left hand reaches for the outside of the right ankle, looking up under your right arm. Keep breathing, keep stretching. Wonderful. Let's come back to center. Inhale, reach your right leg up to the sky. Three-legged dog. Bend the knee and begin to stack the hips. Let's circle the knee one time, bring it down and back up, just working out any tension you may be feeling. And now extending that leg, flexing the foot, bring it up, around, and down into downward facing dog. Great job. Let's inhale as we lift the left leg now. And do the same thing here. Bend the knee, stack the hips. Straighten the leg, flex the foot. Bring it around, out as far as you can to the side, and then down into downward facing dog. Great job. Let's roll forward to plank. And rolling back into downward dog. Roll forward to plank, chaturanga down. Lift to upward facing dog as you inhale. Beautiful. Back to downward facing dog. Let's come forward to plank again. Chaturanga down, upward facing dog. Tuck the toes. Let's do one chaturanga push-up. Bring the nose down to the mat and lift back to upward facing dog. Come up to high plank. Release the hips down, upward facing dog. Back to plank. Upward facing dog. Back up to plank. And back into downward facing dog. Now lifting the right leg once again into three-legged dog, stacking the hips. You can stay here or maybe try coming into our side plank. Not placing that right foot down on the mat yet. You can place it on the inside of the left thigh or just hover it above. And then slowly step back behind you, straightening the left leg, pressing into the mat with the left foot. The left hand reaching up and back behind you, arching the back. And slowly coming back into our side plank, hovering the foot or finding tree pose variation. And then going right into three-legged dog before we bend the knee and bring it to the right thumb. So the right foot is on the left side of the mat. Your right knee is toward the right side. Your left leg is extended behind you. Finding pigeon pose. Now let's tuck those back toes. Lift the knee off of the mat and bring it down. Lift and down. Lift and down, making this pigeon pose a bit more active. Noticing what that feels like on the left hip flexor and on the right hip. Now let's release the toes and just hold our pigeon pose, finding a moment of stillness, of reflection. And again, imagine yourself having that cloak, that robe of love surrounding you, enfolding you, filling you with a peaceful, loving light. And now let's lift up, coming onto the hands, tuck the back toes, and lift the right knee, reaching the leg back into three-legged dog. Bend the knee and step the right foot between the hands, reaching up into lunge. Back toes are still tucked. And releasing the right hand onto the back of the left knee. Left arm is reaching up as you slowly lift up into a high lunge, finding strength in your legs. And release the right arm forward, left arm comes back, pivoting the back foot to a 45-degree angle, finding Warrior Two. Deep breath in. And exhale, reaching back into Peaceful Warrior. Left hand on the back leg, right arm reaching up and back. And on your next breath, coming forward, reaching up and over with your left arm, finding extended side angle, reaching back with your right arm across the front of your body. And coming up, reaching back into Reverse Warrior or Peaceful Warrior. And coming forward into triangle now. Right leg is extended. Shoulders are stacked on top of each other. Opening up through the left hip. And releasing the hands down to the mat, squaring the hips off to the front. Both legs are extended. Holding in our pyramid pose. Now let's bend that right knee, press the hands into the mat, and lift the right foot, stepping back into three-legged dog, stretching up, and releasing into plank or one-legged plank, Chaturanga Dandasana, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Let's take a breath and reach the left leg up to the sky, stacking the hips again. And then shifting the weight into the right arm and the right leg, hovering the left foot above the right thigh, tree pose variation, and step that left foot back behind you, opening up into Wild Thing, arching the back and reaching up, pressing into the right foot, extending the leg, and coming back into side plank. Hold for a breath, and coming back to three-legged dog, adjusting your hands and your feet if you need to, and then bringing your left knee to your left thumb, tucking the right toes as you lift the knee off the mat and release down. Lifting up and down, making our pigeon pose a bit more active. before we release and find our full pigeon pose. Taking a moment to cultivate that atmosphere of love within our own hearts. Breathe into it. And lifting up to the hands, press them into the mat as you tuck the right toes and lift the left knee back, reaching up into three-legged dog, and bend the knee and step the foot between the hands. Right knee onto the mat, reach up to the sky into our low lunge. You can release the back toes if you'd like. And releasing the left hand to the back leg, tuck the back toes and lift the knee off of the mat, coming into our high lunge, reaching up and back with that right arm. Hold and breathe. And pivoting forward into warrior two, bending into the left knee. Arms are even out at your sides. Right foot is at a 45-degree angle. And then releasing back into peaceful warrior. Exhale, coming forward, extended side angle, but reaching back with your left arm in front of your body. And exhale, coming into peaceful warrior again. Back to extended side angle variation. Back into peaceful warrior. And finding triangle pose, extending the left leg. Right arm reaches up to the sky. Take a deep breath. Exhale it all out. Stacking your shoulders on top. Left fingers are hovering above the mat. Left hand can be on a block, or you can place your hand on the mat. And coming down with both hands to the mat, squaring off the hips, finding pyramid pose, hands on either side of the left foot. Right heel is lifted, folding over the left thigh, keeping your back straight. Now let's bend the left knee, press the hands into the mat, lift the front leg back into three-legged dog, and coming forward to one-legged plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Holding for a breath. One more deep breath in, and exhale, coming down into bear stance. Knees are hovering above the mat, your back is straight, wrists are stacked underneath the shoulders, and release the knees down, coming up onto the knees, untuck your toes, place your hands on your lower back, press the hips forward. Begin to slowly arch your back, coming down into camel. If you're comfortable with this pose and your flexibility allows, you can reach your hands down to your heels, opening through the shoulders, and just allow your head to release back. Your neck and your chest open up to the sky. Again, coming back to the intention of this practice. Welcome that pure, blissful love. Feel it soaking into your body. Feel it changing you and removing any negative emotion you may have been holding on to. Now let's bring the hands back to the lower back. Slowly begin to lift up. Your head is the last thing that comes up. Allow your spine to neutralize, the blood flow to come back to normal. And sitting down onto your heels, bring the knees to either side of the mat. And find our wide-legged child pose once again. Breathing deeply, releasing the lower back. And now reaching for the heels. Bring the crown of your head onto the mat, rounding through your back, stretching out that back body. You can grab onto the backs of your legs or your shins if you can't reach your heels. And let's release and slowly lift up to seated. And once again, reaching for your heels. Forehead is on the mat now. Finding a variation of wide-legged child's pose. Slowly rolling up again. Bring the knees together. And then sitting down onto the mat, rolling back, extending the legs, arms are released at your sides, finding our last and the most important pose of this practice, Savasana, the place we come to for relaxation, for a deeper sinking into our intention and into everything that we've experienced during this practice. Relax every muscle in your body. Breathe deeply into your lungs and just be present. Let's slowly reach the arms up overhead, stretching to opposite sides of the mat. And bend the knees into the chest and slowly roll up to seated, coming to the center of your mat with your legs crossed. Roll the shoulders back, and as we rest our hands on the knees, palms facing upward, I'd like to invite you to take on this challenge. Move throughout your day with the intention of being purposefully compassionate, kind, gentle, patient, and humble of heart. And let love be your covering, which brings all of these things together into perfect unity. May your day be blessed and your heart full of all of these things. That is my prayer for you today, and I thank you for flowing with me in love. Namaste. If you found value in this video, I would appreciate it so much if you liked, shared, or commented so that someone else can see it and hopefully experience everything you have just enjoyed.